home is where the heart is, then mine's right here. I'm Amy, and this is My Texas Today. Welcome back to Go To Tuesday. I hope that you're off to another great week, and I am very excited to introduce to you a great guest that we have in my kitchen today, and I'm honored to meet and become friends with Mr. Brandon Rhyder.
Thank you for having me.
He is a great Texas artist, and if you haven't got to know him yet, you certainly will during this segment. But more importantly, he has brought his own go-to meal with us today. What did you bring?
Well, it's called Chicken and Veggie Italian Noodle Delight. I made up all of those words and just bunched them into one thing. But more than anything, it's just a go-to dish when we're out on the road on the bus. We don't have a whole lot of space on the bus to be able to put a whole lot of food. So anytime you can take one dish and have leftovers from it, eat it 3 or 4 times on the road. And it's packed full of goodness. So it's a good thing.
It is a good thing. Let's go.
Awesome. Let's do it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to sear the chicken, and I like to marinate the chicken in Italian dressing and garlic Italian dressing. And if you can't find garlic Italian dressing, just put some garlic in there with it and let it sit overnight. I like to let it sit for about a day. It just gets a lot of good flavor in it, and it's a really easy thing to go to if you want to marinate. And we're just going to sear these on both sides. So right now we're gonna let this sear probably about 3 or 4 minutes on one side. We'll flip it over and let it sear 3 or 4 minutes on the other side. Then we'll take it out and let it rest and get it in the oven. Now that we've seared the chicken on both sides, we're going to simply put it in this dish, throw it in the oven for a few minutes, let it get right and finish up in there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take all of our vegetables. Notice we've got some good mushrooms here. We've also got asparagus. We've got a zucchini, and we've got squash. All good for you. That's what it's about, everything being good for you. And this is where I like to take the special ingredient, some of the lemon, brighten it up just a little bit. We'll also take a little bit of olive oil, I would say a tablespoon or so. And what we're going to do is get that all together with some salt. And then some ground black pepper. I like fresh black pepper. And then we'll just simply get this all going together. And one of the big things is that I don't like the veggies to get too soft, so I like to reduce the heat. So I pretty much turned it down where it's on low, just to make sure that I don't want to overcook them too much. I don't want to cook them too fast either. Right now, because you kind of do this all in succession, it's a good thing to go ahead and try to get, to know exactly where you're at. The next thing would be to get the spirals in there. This is the whole wheat pasta. Whole wheat pasta is good for you, better for you. And I never measure. This looks like, I think half of that will be plenty. We've got all of this in here, and we're kind of letting it all come together. And I like to take fresh herbs. At the house I have a little herb garden that has all of these things in it. Thyme, oregano, rosemary, and what is my other special one? Basil. Love basil. And then I like to take this and probably, what is this? Probably a couple of tablespoons. And get that all mixing together as well. And I'm never afraid to add more either. If it looks like it's a little dry, don't be afraid to just pick up a little bit more olive oil and get it in there. Everything's to taste. I don't like to put a whole lot of salt on anything because, obviously once you go overboard and you've got too much salt, what do you do then? Okay, the pasta's just about ready, so we're going to go ahead and get it draining over here. And it doesn't matter if it just sits there for a couple of minutes. We're just going to fold it into the dish here in a few minutes, but we just don't want it to overcook, so that's why you just go ahead and drain it and let it sit there. And it'll come all back together once it gets in this olive oil and gets in with everything that's in this dish here. So we'll get to that part next. Now what I like to do is I like to take some crushed red pepper and some fire roasted tomatoes and put in with this. Look at that. Doesn't that look good? So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and fold the noodles in with this. This is all coming together. We're going to let it sit there and continue to do its thing. all those flavors to melt together. The chicken will be done here in just a minute. We'll dice it up, get it in there, get the cheese in there, and let it get all gooey together. So
gooey sounds good.
That's the next step.
Yeah.
Now we're to the good part where we're getting closer and closer to eating this stuff. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the chicken out, we're going to dice it up, and get it ready to go into our smorgasbord of all this goodness.
Wholesomeness.
All this goodness.
And it looks really moist, obviously, because we've marinated it overnight.
That's a big part of it. And you can smell that it was cooked in the basted in the Italian dressing.
Oh my goodness, this is
We have one
awesome.
more here. So now we've got this together. We're going to add some cheese right here. All right. We're going to add the cheese. And you don't have to measure. I mean, this is to whatever you want to do. But I would say it's probably about a cup of cheese. And we're going to get it back on the stove for just a minute and let this all kind of come together.
Wow.
And then we'll finish it off. Folding together. One of the things I like to do right at the very end, just to give it a little bit more voila, a little bit of life, is add that other half that we used at the beginning when we put it in the veggies. Just kind of let it, and I mean, what is this? Probably a tablespoon or something like that.
Okay, I have to taste this. Let's see. Okay, that is good.
It's a good go-to.
That's a good go-to.
It's a good go-to.
Wow.
It's healthy.
You
You've
know
got a
what I like
lot of
about it?
vegetables in there.
It's all the vegetables. I love it.
Keep you up on the road or wherever you may be.
That's beautiful, Brandon.
And it only gets better after you refrigerate it. It just gets better and better and better.
Next
So
day.
this is something that you can eat for 3 or 4 days on. And
That is awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that recipe with us. And I have to give you a little toast
Absolutely.
to that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, before we continue eating and drinking, I do want to mention that you have this awesome new CD that you just released this week.
Yes, absolutely.
And I have listened to it from top to bottom.
Thank you.
And I love it. And I also love the DVD that you included,
Right.
which is super cool because it's like all the behind the scenes of him recording this album and just little tidbits about the crew. It's really fascinating, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So could we give one of these to our viewers?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. The 5th person that wants to sign up on our homepage, give us your email address. You will be getting weekly updates on things that are being posted to our site as we carry on. And the 5th person that signs up today is going to get Brandon's new CD that was just released. Would you sign that while you're here?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, now
I'll
it's
sign.
signed. Now you really have to have this. So thank you so much. And before you leave, could I get you to sing your #1 on the Texas charts this week?
Yes.
How did that feel, by the way, having that?
Well,
I mean, I know you're not new to this.
it never gets old. This is our second one, and we've had a lot of top 10s and some top 5s, but anytime that you can make it to the #1 spot, even if it's for a week, you were #1, and
Awesome.
we're really proud of that because on both of the charts, the Texas Regional Radio Report and the Texas Music Chart
Right.
this week, Rock Angel is #1. So yeah, I'd love to play it for
It's
you.
a cool song.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's go.
All right.
So Brandon's going to give us his #1 right now, Texas chart, which is Rock Angel. And I noticed on your album that you were the writer on every song. Do you write pretty much everything?
Well, for this particular record, I was lucky enough to have enough material over the last year or so that I had written by myself to be able to pull this off. It wasn't something intentional going in. It was something more of, it had happened the later that we got into the CD and realized that the 9 tracks that we had already recorded, I had written all of them. And Walt really pushed me for that, the producer, Walt Wilkins, a dear friend and mentor to me for some years. And so it wasn't intentional, but it happened that way. And I'm very proud of that because most of the time at this point in the industry and when you've had this many records come out, you just end up getting so busy and you have so many people that depend on you, so to speak. You don't have the time to be able to write. But
Right.
I think a great part of it is that we're on the bus full time now, have been for the last year or two, and that really has helped me a lot because I get that time that I can go back into the back and kick everybody out and just start working on whatever's happening right then and there. So
What generally comes first, the music or the lyrics?
never the same way. Always right for the inspiration. Always right for the moment. Don't try to force feed it, and let it be natural. She's my rock angel. She's my lover. She's my squeeze. And when she wraps her arms around me, she gets anything she please. She's got a Hollywood smile, bedroom eyes. I was falling when she caught me, and she swore she'd never let me go. And her wings are roses, and her halo solid gold. When she touches me, I melt into her soul. I'm incredibly grateful, from head to toe, thankful that she's my rock angel. She's my rock angel. She likes to let the good times roll. And when she looks at me, she's telling me she loves me without words. She wears a lucky tight jeans, lucky for me. 'Cause when the lights are out and everybody's gone, and know she's taking me home. And her wings are roses, and her halo solid gold. When she touches me, I melt into her soul. I'm incredibly grateful, from head to toe, thankful that she's my rock angel. And her wings are roses, and her halo solid gold. When she touches me, I melt into her soul. I'm incredibly grateful, from head to toe, thankful that she's my rock angel. I'm incredibly grateful, eternally thankful that she's my rock angel. Thank you for helping me out there.
That is awesome.
Thank you so much.
I cannot thank you enough.
I'm incredibly grateful, eternally